Having proper lighting on your bandsaw is crucial in not just keeping your fingers from the blade's path, but also for making accurate cuts. For many years, I've used just the light in my shop to illuminate my work. I find now with this light that I've created that my techniques are improved, my cutting is better, and I make fewer mistakes. This light I'm about to show you came to me while I was at a woodworking show. The lights that they had there were fairly expensive, and I thought, I bet I could make something like that out of wood. My light uses a retractable magnet that can be raised and lowered by a knob. I can quickly turn it and remove it, place it where I want, and tighten it easily. It has a flexible neck, which allows me to put it exactly where I want it to be, and uses an LED bulb, which is bright and will last a long time. This light has dramatically improved my cutting with my bandsaw. If you don't have a light, let me show you how I made mine. It will improve your skills and accuracy tremendously. I'm making this project, at least the main body, out of an old drawer, so whomever threw this drawer out, I appreciate it. It's made out of solid oak, good quality. I'm making this on a table saw sled with a box joint insert that I made in the last video. I actually made the last video so that I can make this video. I wanted to have a box joint, an easy way to make this box, and that was the solution I came up with. I'm making a platform where this magnet will be able to slide up and down inside the box. And in order to be able to do that, I need to have a little bit of space on the bottom for the magnet to travel. So I'm kind of measuring that out now, and I'm going to make a platform to fit inside that box. I had the idea to make this groove in the box by turning the box inside out, as you can see here, which worked pretty good, but the problem is you can see there's some tear out on the sides. I went ahead and glued this all together, and you'll see that tear out here in a second, which I fixed. It's not a big deal, but it's just a pain. You see the tear outs there. Now while we clamp and wait for this to dry, I'll show you the cord housing. Cord housing consists of two different dowel rods that are glued together. This here is a good example as to a bad tear out when you don't have it properly secured against that fence. Drilling a hole here eliminated that problem. Now we're going to make a jig to make these individual pieces that make up the cord housing. I put the smaller hole in there so that we could pop it out through the bottom when we're done. I've put a slit on the side here so that we can really clamp down on those pieces to keep them from spinning around as we drill them out. Now we're drilling that out. Instead of doing a Forstner bit to hog that out, I went ahead and just used 3 different drill bits, which really helped out a lot. Couldn't keep it from splitting before. It was really bad. Yeah, there's the final one. That's a very thin wall on that, but I went ahead and put some glue on the outside of it to give it a little bit of strength, and it really helped out a lot. That's all that glue is for, is to reinforce the wood a little bit, make it a little harder. This is 12-2. You can find that anywhere in your house. Just rip it out of the walls. I'm kidding. String them up. That's how it works. It goes together. Very easy. Those are the places I talked about. I just went ahead and chiseled them out, then put some pieces in there. Now, if you don't want to do the mechanism that lowers and raises that magnet, you won't hurt my feelings. But you can just make that shelf a little bit lower and attach it with a screw. Makes it a lot simpler. I put this in here because I wanted to make it easy to release it from the bandsaw. Now, if you do decide, either way, no matter which way you do this, you really want to make sure that that magnet does not protrude through the bottom of the wooden box. That's whether you fix it, attach it, or you have it on this bolt. You do not want it to touch your bandsaw, or it will scratch the paint. This is the inner lid. Just allows the top lid to fit on a little bit more precise. This is the outer. I threw some junk wood in there, built it up. That way I could throw that, put a little bit of glue on there. Now I'm clamping it up. Be careful, it'll squeeze out. I had to go through a second time to clean it up, but you see how it works there. Drilling a hole all the way through. This is where my post will go through. Again, this is all not necessary, but I wanted to be able to release have a good release for taking it off my bandsaw. A little tight on the edge, so I carved it out. I can't tell you how many times I spun that thing around. And you can see it's works well. We're cutting the top part off, the handle for the mechanism that will release it from the bandsaw, that magnet. You can make your handle any way you want. This is just kind of a generic idea I had. I did another one with the last one I made. Drilling the center out, which I used from the compass point. Again, this is just kind of an idea I had. Be creative. I like using round objects to make, to pattern after. Makes things so much easier. I'm extending the handle up a little bit. That's all that is. It's just a little, it's a dowel rod to keep it off the main body. So you can kind of wrap your fingers around the side. Now we're going to cut off the extended part of that bolt. In the background you might hear a meowing sound, like a cat in a blender. That would be my kid's cat in the garage. If you don't have a grinder at this point, buy one. You can get them for 12 bucks. I put this nut on so that I could reform that thread after I cut with the grinder. That just recreates that thread. Put that on before you cut. Now we're going to attach the handle. Just going to put a little hole in it. Fasten it with a screw. Drill all the way through. That will obviously keep it from coming. That handle, it'll make that bolt stationary with the handle. Just going to put some screws in the top to fasten the box together. You should never have to get to it. Just going to round it off, make it look pretty. And now I'm going to cut out the cord housing port as well as the switch port. I had to carve out a little bit to get the switch to fit in there just right. Another treasure found on the curb. I carry snips in my car for projects just like this. Now my lawyer has told me to insert this little comment here. If you don't know how to do electrical work, do not do electrical work. Find some poor schlub to do it for you. I don't want anyone somehow burning their house or their garage down. It's a very simple wiring, but this is, if you feel like you can't do it, don't do it. Connecting the neutrals. Then running the hots through the switch. Turn the switch. The juice is flowing. You turn it off, it stops. Crimping it on, the connections. Okay, now this little tube here, PVC pipe, I put in there as a way to keep that bolt from rubbing up against the wires. Gluing this together now. This is the light plate. I just kind of came up with it. I think it works well. Now, I will say this, that the bulb that fits into this plate, before anybody thinks that it looks dangerous, I checked the heat on that bulb and it never went above 70 degrees at the point where the bulb fits in. So there should be nothing to worry about. Again, if you think that this is too dangerous, then don't do it. Sanded it up. Now we're just connecting it together. I don't think I ever glued that piece, the the cable assembly together with the light plate. But we're attaching it. We're using these little bullet clips, crimping them onto the wires, and use maybe a little hot glue to keep that against that plate. It's a simple little idea, a little design, and it works.